Yes, hi and hello, sports fans. Welcome to a brand new episode of Shek Show. We're ready to roll. We have a lot to talk about, especially after Thursday night's Game 3 climax of another Red Sox Yankees showdown. There's Eddie Spaghetti. He flew up. He left his Florida home to fly up to New York to celebrate. I think that's rude because they're in his usual spot, seated high atop show business is Kevin Hench. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about all of it. One battle after another. The puck's about to drop. Drop. Week 5 of the NFL season is upon us. And above and beyond all that, my boy came to me 2 nights ago and asked a great question that I'm going to just float here. And I'm going to let it sit there and marinate for a minute. And you guys can jump in on this whenever you want. We can talk Red Sox Yankees first. But he said to me, tomato or potato? And I said, what? I don't know what that means. So he said, choose one or the other. You can only have one for the rest of your life. And I said, hot damn, you're my boy. And I hugged him tight because I knew he was mine once and for all. But for
All right,
real,
Spaghetti, start
what
recording.
what what a
Start recording
great
now,
what a
because
great
what the fuck?
question.
That is
Tomato
a
or
great question.
potato?
That is a great question.
That's
Wow.
a great
Oh my God. We are going to get so many ears. Everyone's like, oh my God, I listened all the way to the potato tomato part. Then I had to bail because I
A
got so
minute
fucking
40.
bored.
I found it a mind bender. All right, go ahead. Talk about whatever you want. How are you, Edge?
Well, I'm fucking terrible. How do you think
Oh, okay. I
you
don't know.
know,
I
it's
guess
like
I should have known that.
the Red Sox were so decimated. Like it's exactly how you want to go into the playoffs. Like you're the best player of his generation for the Red Sox tears his oblique down the stretch. Another top five player for us, Wilyer Abreu, tears his calf and might as well have just shut it down for the season because he never does anything when he comes back. They rush him back. He never hits the ball hard. We've got Nathaniel Lowe, who would be fat on a slow pitch softball team. He'd be the fat guy. Like, wow, man, you really let yourself go. Like, you're in the major leagues with that body. So it was preordained. By the way, if you have Carlos Narvaez hitting ninth, you might have a good lineup. If you have him hitting seventh, you're like, ooh, your bottom three is weak. He hit fifth in the first 2 games of this series. Like, we just have fucking cadavers up and down the lineup. And so the Red Sox lineup was basically guys who choked and guys who are not good enough to choke. Like, in order to choke, you have to have a certain amount of ability, right? So the two major chokes in game 2, where we had to win the series, obviously, as everyone saw, Jaron Duran is just proof you don't want to be a bodybuilder in baseball. Like, you don't want to be Nathaniel Lowe, but
I was just gonna say, wait, you don't like
know,
the fat guy, you don't like the fit guy.
there's a,
What do you like?
there's a happy medium, like Roberto Duran, like kind of smooth muscle tone. You don't want to be
I
Mark
like
Hagler.
I like that your catalog of available names, yeah, is now so limited because of your age that you had to go from Jaron Duran. Like, what other sports guy could I name? Like Roberto Duran? Yeah, that works.
That's how I work. So you want that smooth muscle tone, and Jaron Duran is jacked. He is just ripped. And so then when a ripped, smashing machine has to make a 3-foot putt, that's no good. So the smashing machine is like
I
right
watched Bryson
after Aaron
DeChambeau. I know
Judge
what
is
you're talking
fucking
about.
he's Aaron Judge hits a fucking flare, a fucking pop fly. Like, he gets none of the ball. And then the smashing machine is running. I'm gonna catch it. And he gets there easily. He barely has to lean into his dive. And then and by the way, this is now double figures this year for Jaron Duran, not squeezing a ball that hit the middle of his glove. So he just drops a fucking routine flare to left. And then Aaron Judge does that's right, this is our house. Oh, hey, fucking Goliath, you did it. You hit a ball 75 miles an hour to a major leaguer's mitt, and you're like, that's right, this is our house. So that's a run.
Ironic because he's the Yankee smashing machine, and if memory
Yeah.
serves, he
And
dropped
and
a,
he
a fly ball of
and he hit
significance
one
last
ball
year.
hard in the series. So that's one run the Yankees shouldn't have had in game two. Then Cedar Rafaela comes up with runners on first and second, nobody out, like in the sixth or seventh. And it's like, obviously, the move is bunt. You've got a little wispy, fast guy. He's got a bunt. Except the stab he takes at the first pitch, that's 14 inches outside, is so ghastly. It'd be like if a team got two technical fouls and you sent the guy to shoot the first technical and he shot the ball over the fucking backboard. Yeah, I don't have him shoot the second technical. This guy can't make a free throw. Rafaela, like, Alex Cora, you think he's going to get a bunt down now after that first attempt? He doesn't know how to bunt. Like, he's bunting at a ball that looks like a fucking pitch out, and you're like, yeah, let's keep that bunt on. Let's keep that bunt on. So the second pitch that's further off the plate, he's like, I'm not letting this one get by me. I'm going to lay out. I'm going to fucking dive to bunt this fucking ball. And he hits a pop-up to the rubber. His bunt reaches the pitching rubber. Like, his bunt went further than any ball he hit from like July 28th to September 14th. So it's like, you can't hit the ball and you can't bunt. Hey, man, fucking awesome having you here in this big spot. So then, of course, the next guy hits a 300-foot fly ball that would have been a run. So if Jarren Duran, the smashing machine, could catch a fucking baseball, the Yankees score 3 runs. If Cedar Rafaela, little guy, could bunt, the Red Sox score 4 runs. The final score is 4-3 Red Sox. The series is over. But when you choke, I mean, it's like, this is the definition of choking. Hey, in a big spot, could you not do that totally normal thing that you can usually do? Yeah, I choked. That's what happened. So I'm fucking furious, and it was awful.
So, long story short, if I'm picking up what you're laying down, you're going potato. Oh, wait, he just left. He just got up and walked away. Eddie Spaghetti, your retort to this. By the way, I do also have to say, as an ongoing ray of sunshine, this is better. Hench should be in a better mood than what he is, given that the last time we spun 2 weeks ago, one fortnight ago, I said, boy, we're hurtling towards a Yankees Red Sox series. And he said, oh, come on. The Red Sox aren't making the playoffs. They made the playoffs. They even won a game.
Yeah, but they proved that they definitely belong in the series, and you can make the case they should have won the series. I mean, after game one or during game one, I'm thinking, like, as a Yankee fan, the next roster the most outside of your own team is the Red Sox roster. Same thing for Red Sox fans. The roster you probably know the next best is the Yankees roster. I've seen some really good Red Sox rosters, and I've seen some really poor Red Sox rosters. This one is not near the top of being the best. It's certainly not the worst, but it's not one of the scarier Red Sox rosters. They have a
It's the
fantastic
worst to ever be in the playoffs.
right, I would say. And then seeing what happens. So before even game one starts, Aaron Boone, and I shouldn't say Aaron Boone, 'cause the one thing I've been consistent about on this show is that I don't think Aaron Boone makes any decisions for the Yankees lineups. I think the Yankees have their own version of like a deep state where he's told what to do, because Aaron Boone has said that this is the most talented roster he's ever managed. He's ever like coached in his career, ever been around. And then you have a guy who hit 31 home runs, was in the home run derby, and adds speeds in the bases. And you have a guy in Ben Rice who played so great in his first season. He's going to win the starting job and will have it for as long as he wants to wear pinstripes. You're putting down 31 and like 26 home runs, and I think a combined like 140 RBIs, and you're taking them out of the lineup in game one because you're going it based off the analytics matchup. Like, it just makes you want to blow your brains out. And then you go and see what happens and how great Alex Cora managed his pitching staff and who he wanted to face who. and he's just getting like outmanaged like completely in game one, and they lose that game, and I had zero faith because I'm like, you go and screw up this thing because you're so afraid of this pitcher, you don't trust your best players, and if it wasn't, frankly, if it wasn't for the sloppy defense, like the Duran play where it's a very strange, awkward lean in with the glove, and then what happened, in the fourth inning of game three, the ball between first and second base, and that got slapped around. Like the Yankees, who won 94 games this year, who won 94 games last year, and they actually won the division, you should be playing a lot smoother. Now, cut to game three with the pitching performance of Cam Schlitter. I mean, it's probably, if you combine his age, the stakes, the amount of pressure, because we all know if they lose this series, like who knows what's the future for Boone, who knows the future for Cashman.
What do you mean, who knows the future? That obviously
they'd
just
be
got
gone.
brought back. They get brought back. There's nothing they can do. Like, I miss Steinbrenner so much. Like, Baron Boone would have been fired and rehired 4 times. Like, this thing where it's like nothing. When you're watching like 2003, 2004 Yankees Red Sox, and they're like cutting to a young Brian Cashman, you're like, what the fuck? How can this guy still be doing it?
I mean, I definitely think there's a truth, because it goes back to the whole deep state thing where they know that there's like Aaron Boone makes 0 decisions. He's just the figurehead of us talking to the media because he was on ESPN for years and he played like perfect. He works for us. But I think when Cashman, like all the guys, they got the deadline and really going for it, and I think to get to only kind of fall backwards into the wild card spot because you had a great end of the season, but all those games they blew, like Devin Williams blowing a bunch of games. Like if they won one of those games that he blew, they're sitting home all week on the couch watching the Red Sox and the Blue Jays play. So I think if they lost this series, there's a real chance that there would have been some kind of big overhaul because you're really just wasting this window. So what I think his pitching performance, the amount of strikeouts, not letting guys get past first base, was probably the best I've ever seen. And there probably are pitching performances that are better. Clearly, obviously, World Series pitching performances that are better. But I think for him, who's never really been there, the only thing that really, if it was on the road, I think it's tough to beat. But I mean, him putting him back out there in the 8th inning and completing it, which is something that Boone was not doing in the first game. So credit to Boone for kind of reversing it and putting Rice and Jazz back in the lineup and letting the pitchers stay out there. Because again, if Fried was out there in game 1 for the extra inning, who knows if Weaver comes in and blows the game, because he's been awful all of September. So Boone did right his wrongs, and I mean, what a performance last night. I had no faith. My brother was at the game. Like the last time Murphy's at a big important Yankee game, we lost thanks to Freddie Freeman and Nestor Cortez. I was so afraid. I put the game
or
on my
Eddie
iPad.
Spaghetti. Why don't you wear it a little bit? You gotta take on some of the responsibility for what happened in Dodger Stadium.
Well, it's clearly I don't go to games where my teams win. The last 2 games I went to were Notre Dame, Miami, and the Yankees Dodgers World Series.
When you're a pox, you have to admit you're a pox. Know thyself, right?
I mean, Cam Schlittler gave up 7 runs to the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs on July 2nd of this year. 2 years ago, his fastball was topping out at 91. Mm-hmm. So come on. I mean, what's going on here?
Well, these insinuations that continue, and they're not just Kevin Hench saying them. I think it's wild that it's 1994 again, because there are steroid accusations and juiced baseballs. And at the same time, in the NFL, Vic Fangio, the Eagles DC, and other people are saying that the kicking ball, and my obsession and Hench's sometimes obsession is the kickers are too good, is owed this year specifically to them doing something specific to the football, which makes it especially sad that some of those guys still miss kicks and swing games with their ineptitude, like we saw on Thursday Night Football. Cardi for the Rams is the reason that the Rams lost that game. My question:
he's the reason they've lost both their games, and McManus is the reason that the Packers are 2-0 and McManus is 0-1-1. I mean, if McManus makes the extra point against the Cowboys and they go up 14-0, that game's over. It's the 13-2 part that's like, hey man, you got to get a kick over the line. It's an extra point. It's insane that
It makes me crazy, but also they need to get rid of the stupid kickoff rule. I know they should be able, they're professionals, that's what their job is to do and everything. you have to hit it in a zone, and I know they kick it through already through a three-quarters rectangle, and so that's a zone they have to get it into. This is newfangled jive, though. The pitch clock. I'm a curmudgeon. I don't love anything new. I didn't like the glowing puck. Anything. Um, I this kid, it's got to go. It's terrible. It really is a bad watch when you're looking at it. I don't think it's just because it's new.
I like it. I like it. I think it's exciting. What do you just want to watch guys kick it through the end zone? I don't like, or do you just want them to start at the 30? Just no kickoff? What?
I mean, yeah, I think that's the answer. The advantages for the offenses are so great at this point. I would love for there not to be them advantaged by starting at the 35 or 40 when all it takes is one completion, which is easier than ever to make, that gets you into field goal range. Because if you get to the 45, you're plausibly in field goal range. That sucks. It's warping the game. My question for you about baseball is, Hench, you're a diehard sports guy. Obviously, love your baseball more than most sports Americans do. Are you going to watch now? Because that's what Spaghetti and I were talking just before you jumped on here. He's like, oh, I was tough, and I don't know if I'd ever be able to watch the rest of football season. If the Yankees lost, I might have to check out on sports for the rest of 2025 and all of that. And I said, way ahead of you, man. I didn't watch one pitch of Yankees Red Sox the entire series. I'm not bragging about that. It's a point of shame, I guess, but I didn't watch any of it. And I think I have to concede. My football obsession is so great. I will watch most Penguins games, but baseball, when it's not the Pirates, is one of those ones that has to fall away. I'm not going to watch much of it.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to watch the Yankees sweep the Blue Jays with like they have Gausman and then everybody's dinged. Like their rotation is just injured. Like Bichette got injured. Everything just lines up for the Yankees. It's so perfect. It's gonna until they run into that Dodgers pitching staff in the World Series. But I'll certainly watch the West Coast games. I'll watch some Scooble. He's a fun watch. I love baseball and I hate the Yankees. I'll be, I'm afraid. I mean, the M's could beat them. The M's are deep and balanced. But yeah, of course I'll watch the playoffs. Like it's baseball.
Well, because the playoffs just hurt your feelings, and my response to that is two can play at that game, sports, and then I'll just turn you off. Like, oh yeah, you want to mess with my emotions? Now I'm not watching you. I'll take that.
As one of the last 11 Pirate fans in the world, it is funny that the Red Sox, the peak of a insane roller coaster of a season. Like the Red Sox lows were so low this year, but the high was definitely Roman Anthony taking Paul Skeens deep at Fenway while Peyton Tolley was pitching a shutout against the Pirates. And then it just derailed fucking immediately. Peyton Tolley gave up 2 runs. They lost that game. Roman Anthony tore his oblique swinging a baseball bat. Hey, probably not great that your body can't hold up to the one thing you're definitely going to have to do thousands of times every season. I don't know. I don't know what obliques are. Never had one. So
that's what brings the three of us together.
But am I gonna have to hold my breath every time he swings a bat? Like, oh God, Drake May's trying a forward pass. He's done for the year.
It is funny that you say that because as I was watching Thursday Night Football, and I thought in the second half, Matthew Stafford's going to pull this one out. I mean, he's just all of a sudden like, okay, it was almost sort of, well, this is a hyperbolic comp, but it was sort of like, I remember watching the Bulls in the 90s, and they would almost every time like a WWE match, like they would get, boy, Hulkster's going to lose this one. He almost got pinned there. And then it would be like early fourth quarter. It'd be like, all right, we're down 14. Enough effing around, guys. Let's win this game. And they would rally inevitably and win the game. And it had that vibe like, oh, Matthew Stafford's realized like this would be embarrassing to lose to this collection of of alleged San Francisco 49ers. These are just some cats they found outside SoFi and threw a red jersey on them, or a white jersey. Um, and he started drilling those throws. Um,
Yeah, he started putting up 30 points for the Cool Cats against the Henchmen, with your slag heap waiver wire quarterback.
I know it's not good. This is a big weekend. I do want to hear about your thoughts on Patriots Steelers, but since you brought it up, yeah, we're in the big fantasy league. It's the Henchmen versus the Cool Cats right now. The Cool Cats in tatters, really in bad shape since the Joe Burrow injury. Jamar Chase now a non-factor thanks to Jake Browning. AJ Brown is a bust so far. Things ain't going great for the Cool Cats, but a chance to get right against the Henchmen this week, starting off in good fashion. Thank you to Matthew Stafford for that one. But what did you think of the Patriots' performance there? Because my big takeaway is, and I'll say before you get rolling, is um, the Steelers are, you can get excited about them at 3-1, and I'd like to believe that they have a deep playoff run in them. But I mean, just to review, the biggest note of all is on these Steelers is they were 3-1 last year, and everybody was super excited about them. And then once Russ got in there and everything else, so slow your roll, because what doesn't make sense is that they gave up as many points as they did in the first couple of weeks to the Jets and to the Seahawks. And I think, they almost gave that game away to Carson Wentz. Keep in mind, it was Carson Wentz. Then again, Mac Jones just beat the Rams in LA. But the one is like, kind of see it how you want, glass half empty, glass half full, was that Patriots game. How did you come down on that one from your side's perspective?
Well, like much like Kyron last night, Ramondre fumbles at the 6-inch line. He's literally, falling into the end zone, and he fumbles. And it's one of 5 fumbles in that game, all 5 of which were recovered by the Steelers. So it's like this is, when you look at the 20 years of Belichick, and you're like, the 2 things the Patriots didn't do is, like, they didn't fumble, and when the ball was on the ground, they always recovered it. It was like, how do you coach, like, go into training camp? Hey guys, when the ball's on the ground, dive on it. Like, yeah, everyone's trying to recover the fumble. Like, and as soon as that oblong ball is bouncing around on the ground, it's such a crazy crapshoot. So to go 5 for 5 in a 1-score game, all 5 times the ball are on the ground, same team recovers it, is fairly insane. So I think that one's got an asterisk next to it for sure. And then, for the Patriots.
But do think about that. Sorry, as you jump in on the Patriots, because I think they're in an interesting spot all of a sudden in that division, a chance to claim second place, which could equal a wild card based on what's happening in the AFC North right now. But as far as the AFC North goes, Steelers can make a pretty good case. I mean, it's a fluke in either direction who wins the Jets-Pittsburgh game. And same is true of the Patriots game. If they had lost either one of those, I mean, that would be among the top conversations in the NFL right now. It already is. What's going on with the Ravens? Boy, they're in trouble and all of that. But it would be a larger conversation about, like, boy, the AFC North is a punchline. The Steelers are kind of dragging it up like, well, Aaron Rodgers, maybe they're going to do like, but I mean, if you take away one of those wins, it'd be like, Jesus Christ, it's worse than either of the Souths, which is the greatest insult you can deliver to a division in the NFL.
Speaking of everybody's Super Bowl pick, I mean, obviously, Burrow that's just a different category. Obviously you can't lose Joe Burrow, but the Ravens, like, your team has been, their D's banged up, but, like, Lamar's out there, Derrick Henry fumbled in the first 3 games. And then against the Chiefs, when I still picked the Ravens, it was like, wow, you guys are outclassed. Like, you're getting pushed around. And I mean, Lamar, we all know the I pulled my hamstring move, where the guy grabs the back of his leg and you're like, that's 6 weeks. And, like, they're still, like, showing the same play. of Lamar Jackson, quote, pulling his hamstring. I'm like, where is this pulled hamstring? Like, I'm not. And then it's very like, is he going to play this week? Well, it's like, not if he pulled his hamstring, he's not. So if he does play this week, then he didn't pull his hamstring. Let's talk about what happened in that game and why Lamar didn't finish it. If he did
Don't
pull
ask John Harbaugh. He gets very raw if you ask him about his starting quarterback for some reason now.
So I had all the screens on, and then I look up and Cooper Rush is in the game, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a 2-score game. What's going on? So is Lamar trending to play?
I No, I think it's going to be Cooper Rush, even though talk about a fascinating game. The Texans or the Ravens, same thing as we said about the Chiefs or Ravens last week. I mean, they're going to leave week 5 with one victory, which would have been hard to predict. I talk about the Jenga theory and all of that. If you remove the wrong piece, the whole thing implodes. I think that is the case for the Niners. Never mind their win against the Rams. I just don't. I think there's a ceiling. It doesn't mean they turn into an irrelevant
So
team.
wait, so after week 5, you didn't think Mac Jones would have 3 times as many wins as Lamar Jackson?
I mean, imagine that. Imagine that. And for a joke, for all the jokes we made, how about that performance, right? From Mac Jones? Does this now earn him another half decade in the NFL? I think it does, literally.
A big part of why I was so irrationally excited about the Mac Jones pick at 15 for the Patriots is Kyle Shanahan had very expertly leaked that they were looking at Mac Jones at number 3. And I'm like, well, say what you want about Kyle Shanahan. I think he knows quarterback play. Now, he took Trey Lance, so maybe I'm wrong.
That's the looming example that really does disrupt the otherwise pristine history of Kyle Shanahan as one of the by the way, I know I say it all the time, but the other guy who keeps proving that is based on the guys who he touches is KOC. Okay, I mean, keep in mind where Danny Dimes was for 2 months at the end of last season. These guys, when they get their hands on these guys, that like they boost up the QBs, except for Trey Lance. But they also embarrass their peers. Like, aren't you ashamed? Aren't you ashamed, other coaches, that Mac Jones was like, sorry, it was a bust, didn't work out, everybody. Like, 300 yards against the good Rams defense. Sheesh.
Yeah, Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl. I mean, it's bananas. But watching Mac Jones, it's not really aesthetically that great, but like, man, Brock Purdy's pretty limited. And I was like, is Mac Jones better than Brock Purdy? Like, this is wild. Like, you could envision a quarterback controversy, right? I mean,
well, that's why I said this offseason, it's telling, because Kyle Shanahan went to that Super Bowl with Jimmy G before he goes with Purdy. He goes to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, and Tevin Coleman is his feature back, if memory serves. Emmanuel Sanders, like the pass catchers, and never mind, because as I have asserted some years ago now, at this point in man's recorded history, the play caller, the offensive play caller and play designer is more important than the guy at the trigger. But by the way, with Mac Jones, yes, like I say, when you do that one time, as Scott Mitchell and Matt Flynn and a number of other examples, like, you do something in a limited sample size like that, people hang on to that. Like, remember what he did? Remember how he toughed it out in that game against LA? I think that really is like, he's gone from joke to now, like, we should get him on our roster. He'd be a savvy vet to coach up the young, learn at the knee of the youngster.
I bet Jamar Chase and Jamar Chase owners in fantasy wish the Bengals had someone like Mac Jones.
Well, as far as that goes, that surprises me too. Here's my point about Mac Jones I was going to make. Till you say, like, he doesn't look that good. I think the pads now. They changed them a few years ago, and most QBs now wear that thing that Matthew Stafford's worn for like the last 5 years, that thing that wraps all the way around their torso that makes them look like they have a pot belly. But there's something about the pads now too, especially on the QBs, that makes them all look like they have tits. Like I don't know what it is. Like they all have that thing, and Mac Jones has the biggest tits in football right now. Like I don't know why his pads look
And
that
the
way.
biggest balls.
Hot damn, you're exactly right. But why, to your point, if you're the Bungles, I could see that you would think, we can debate like, wow, their defense isn't good enough and whatever. But as you know, given what's going on with the Ravens, and there just aren't that many real good teams in the AFC. Weirdly, I mean, think it through. The East is that, that the Bills are the number one seed, right? Barring Josh Allen getting hurt, they're definitely going to be the number one seed in the AFC. Who's getting in their way in that division? That means everything. It's not going to be anybody. It's not going to be the Jags or the Colts getting the number one seed, out of because of each other. That they get in each other's way, and the Texans aren't completely finished yet. So they'll get kind of in each other's way, and it ain't coming out of the AFC North now. So I feel like there's the Bills are going to be the one seed, but looking at the teams that you would slot into one of those 7 spots, I could see being the Cincinnati Bengals and thinking like one of those is available for us. We just got to get better QB play. So why don't they go and trade for Kirk Cousins? Why don't they chase Russell Wilson? I mean, I think like Russell Wilson is now replacement level kind of QB, and
Or Jameis.
I think, I mean, yeah, I think like Jameis is another one. Whatever you like, this ain't working. So if you're just like, what are we just moving deck chairs on the Titanic and all of that? I don't think that's the case necessarily with Cincinnati. I'm surprised that there are other spots available in the NFL. Why Kirk Cousins hasn't moved yet is weird to me. How say you?
Well, I mean, watching that Broncos embarrassment, you knew, like in the second quarter, the Bengals are not scoring again in this game. Like the Broncos defense was tuned up. And Browning just can't drive the ball. Like they're between the no time and the arm. So yeah, I don't know. You're punting on the season if you're just going to go in. I mean, they're going to get destroyed this week with the Lions. That's a horrible matchup. That stadium will be empty by the end of that Lions game.
Yeah, and the other guy who's making a lot of noise about Jamar Chase is upset, but his team is terrible. At least AJ Brown is an interesting case. By the way, Football America now available for you, the Week 5 preview, and we had Jordan Rodriguez, who's great in general and great in her appearance on Football America today. We're talking about AJ Brown, like it's a real weird one. It's kind of Terrell Owens territory. Like, you're undefeated, right, man? Like, but who wouldn't be upset in AJ Brown's shoes? It's a curious spot. My big takeaway is, don't try, and just because they have a diva doesn't mean it'll work for you to entertain the talking into a microphone of your diva wide receiver. For whatever reason, the Eagles have now assumed the same spot that the New England Patriots inhabited for the first 20 years of this millennium, which is whatever they're doing is working, but it is not something you can learn from. It's like Nick Sirianni's their coach. Like, you don't want that. AJ Brown wants the ball, even though they're winning game. You don't want that on your team. How say you on this, Hench? The demand for AJ. I want AJ Brown to get the ball because I need him for the Cool Cats to defeat the Henchmen this weekend.
Well, it's funny because I thought I had this whole. I was like, all right, Shaq lost Joe Burrow, who we were the last 2 guys bidding on Joe Burrow. You got him at 24. And JJ McCarthy was your backup. And so then, like all vultures in fantasy, I've got Kyler, Dak, and Jordan Love, and I'm like, oh, okay. Shek has an area of need. I'll swoop in and get an underperforming guy, possibly. And then you got Stafford off the slag heap, And then he's been the best quarterback in fantasy. It's so insane. But I was gonna say, like, I was gonna offer you Dak, I think, for AJ Brown off his whatever one catch for 7 yards. Dak had a huge game against the Packers without CD. And I was like, and then I was kind of like, do I want AJ Brown? I was like if I get AJ Brown, I'm gonna start him. And like, is the Hurts, they're a very weird team, right? It's like it's a lot of like it's a lot like the Patriots in terms of like no good fantasy players, right? Even there were those Patriot years where it's like you don't want any of these guys, before Moss got there. And so I was like, I don't think Dak's better than Stafford, so Shek's just going to tell me to fuck off. But I didn't even do Barbieri the honor of telling him to fuck off with his hold on, I got to Tony Pollard and Jalen Waddle for Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the trade proposal that came through in my inbox.
What don't you understand about math? He offered you two. You would be speaking back one. That's my favorite. My favorite fantasy trade idea is like, I'll make his head fuzzy because I'll give him more players who don't add up to being as good as the one I want back, but it'll dupe him. Why people still do this in 2025?
So I mean, yeah, you're trying to get someone to bite, but it was a real football. The Patriots, it was a perfect storm. You were playing a very bad Carolina Panthers team, and you got Christian Gonzalez back. So, nerds like us know a little bit about how these things work, but that domino effect of a shutdown corner, how much better does that make everybody? If, you don't have to give help, you don't have to play zone, whatever. And so clearly the results of having Christian Gonzalez back, now you're going up in class this weekend, you're going from Bryce Young to Josh Allen, but I do think that number's too big, because the Bills defense sucks. And so, if it's 31-24 with 2 minutes in the fourth quarter and the Patriots have the ball, do people think that Bills defense is going to get off the field? And if the Patriots do score to make it 31-30, I hope they go for two. Go for the knockout. But like the Patriots beating the Bills would not surprise me this weekend. And if
kind of agree, as much as I say the Bills are going to walk to the number one seed, this is the disruption that could happen there. Is that the Patriots with Mike Vrabel, because our brains now are set to like it works immediately or it was a failure, it didn't work out. Like there's a world in which it's taking a minute for the Mike Vrabel effect to take hold. Now the other side of that is like maybe Mike Vrabel's a little overrated. He's hardo, big guy who looks like he could beat up every other coach in the league, and look at what he did in Tennessee, but it was diminishing returns there in Nashville in the last couple of years. So I can accept that argument. But if you do believe that Mike Vrabel's for real and is going to turn that team around, year two of Drake May, who's had his moments here, and I agree with you completely, specifically about the point you're making about Christian Gonzalez and that defense at large.
Well, however overrated Vrabel is, he's not as overrated as McDermott. This is a fucking defensive genius. They gave up 40 at home opening week. Then Tua was driving at the end of that game. Like Tua moved the ball up and down the field on them, down a score. He's driving before the pick. And so like, if you hang your hat on the defensive side of the ball, the Bills are not good. They're just not good defensively. And like, if the Bills have to get off the field on 3rd and 6 against the Chiefs in the AFC title game again, you don't think it's happening.
Do you think that the same thing as I'm sure the co-eds at William and Mary are not the same equality if we're just using our eyeballs, not objectifying women, but maybe
Is
for a
that why
second
it's called William and Mary? Because it was the first co-ed college. Hey, everyone's welcome. William, Mary.
I hope so. I hope that's the answer. I've never really thought about that. Two first names. I don't know why that's never registered for me. But like William is fancy enough to make it sound sort of formal and therefore classy. But if it had been Billy and Mary, you'd be like, what kind of bum school is that? That's got to be a JUCO, right? Or like Glenn, or like Gary and Mary. Gary and Mary would have been snappy. Either way, um, if you go to, from what I hear about Arizona, like, oh, if you go to ASU or Arizona, like, oh my God, the appeal of the women there. William and Mary probably a little less. Is that the same thing that happened with Tomlin and McDermott, classmates at William and Mary? Like, well, we're not known for our football. You two are geniuses. You're defensive geniuses compared to the other people talking football, William and Mary,
Yeah.
and they left there imbued with a higher level of confidence. Right. Exactly. Right. Like you could walk out of William and Mary if you were the most attractive girl in your sorority or whatever. Like you're like, I'm a 10 out of 10. Like, no, you were a 10 at William and Mary kind of thing. You know what I'm getting at there?
I'm assuming it's, I'm assuming it's William the Conqueror and Mary, Queen of Scots. I mean, William and Mary, they got married, right? Or there was an arranged union. William and Mary.
Why would we name one of our American institutions?
Because it's so old, right? We were still under the aegis of the old country. Spaghetti's looking it up.
The answer is founded in 1693 under a royal charter issued by King William III and Queen Mary II. It's the
Look at who's smart. Look who's smart.
Hench for the
second oldest
for the final Jeopardy. But while you're in your William and Mary
and Roberto Duran, look at the range.
No. Here we go, because this is going to take a turn now. So Darren Sharper, William and Mary, Spaghetti, take a look, because if you go no, then this point makes no sense whatsoever.
Is he still in the joint?
I assume so.
Wow. 93, 96, William and Mary, second round pick.
So Darren Sharper goes to William and Mary, fucking roofing Mary that's probably where he got started but like, this is the most insane crime. Like, it's like you're handsome and you're an NFL player, and like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with you that this is, I mean, it's so much like Cosby, where you're like, no, that's how I like it. I like it non-responsive. We'll get a fucking doll. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? I guess he's had some time to think about that in the joint.
Hot take from Hench. It's messed up to roofie people.
No, but like, I'm sure like the William and Mary, much like our alma maters, you get the, hey, it'd be great if you could kick into the booster fund. They probably at a certain point said like, let's stop. We don't have to reach out to Darren Sharper. Like, we don't really need, he doesn't have to be part of the William and Mary family anymore. Anyway. All right.
Wonder if they retired his jersey. Before, like during the NFL career, but after
he's got to be in the Ring of Honor, whatever they have at William and Mary. They had to do a lot of chiseling and scraping and sanding. He had to be the best football player in the program's history.
Darren and Mary,
NFL All-Pro, is completely bananas.
Hey,
what was the question?
I don't know what it was. Listen. You completely derailed us here.
Hey, I have a question. I have a question based on
potato or potato. I'm glad you asked. I think like,
oh my God,
most people will do what I did, which is like, that's a great question, but also the answer has obviously got to be potato, because French fries and baked potatoes and mashed potatoes and Lyonnaise potatoes and potato chips. So I don't and the potato-based soups, So there's no more chowder. If you get rid of potato, no more chowder for you ever again. That's not a price I want to pay. But
this is how
tomatoes like no Italian food, basically. You're out on Italian food. Is that going to make you happy? Your sandwiches are going to be a little less tangy without the tomato.
This is how unimpressive the tomato is. Like a BLT barely suffers without the tomato. It barely loses anything. It's just a BLM. It's bacon, lettuce, and mayo. Oh, okay, that's just exactly as good. But
What
potato
a
and
thrill
tomato.
that Hench. Oh, it's such a victory for me. Like Sugar Ray over Duran. It can be a decision for me. It doesn't have to be a knockout. Then it'll just be a technical victory for me that Hench weighed in on this subject. That what I've done it all now. Hench weighed in on one of my
You
stupid
broke
questions.
me. But this was a real question.
Okay,
So, okay, we're all watching.
Spaghetti. What's your answer,
We're all
real fast?
watching McVay at the end of the game, right? And it's like, you know, he's not going to kick a field goal. Like and I really think, especially given Cardi's performance in the game, you're like, okay, it's fourth and a full one. It's a
Michaels
full
and
one.
Herb Street did not mention it. They were like, "Well, don't you kick the field goal here?" It's like, man, it's not a given that the guy who's missed an extra point and another field goal by 10 feet already today is going to drill a 40 plus yard or get no matter how many other kickers are making kicks. This
Why,
cat ain't doing
why
it
didn't
tonight.
why didn't Kirk Herbstreit make a good point? Listen to what you're saying.
You're right. You're
Listen
right.
to the
Touche.
words coming out of your mouth. Barely
I know
like
it's like it's as
it's
though
like
it's as though they have
it
his arm
wasn't
twisted
on
behind
his
his back to have to attend these NFL games. It really that's the tone. It's like you can't expect me to be informed about this. I'm a college football guy. You want me to also know who these people who previously and not very long ago were playing college football? You expect me to continue to track them into their professional endeavors? What the, I, this thing of people resenting having to talk about football when they're being paid to talk about football is one of the wildest trends, and it has endured for at least a decade now. It makes me crazy.
he has like you radio guys, those the sound drops, the sound car, like you can, Stern and Van Pelt has them now, like the Raiders, whatever. So he has like 20 cliches, and like I'm sure McVay's worried about sending this kicker out there who's on his way to the psych ward is analysis, but it's not one of the 20 sound drops he has, cliches. So, but I'm watching that game now. I have Kyron Williams in my guillotine league, and I'm playing against Stafford. So it's like you're torn about who you want to do well, but as someone who just was kind of rooting for the Rams, fourth and a full one, I agree with going for it. If you are in a tight formation, the box gets full. Like you could spread them and hand the ball off, or you could spread them and make someone guard fucking Puka one-on-one. But going tight, getting the box full, and then giving it to him anyway, I'm like, what is happening? How does
I was sure that
coach,
they would run some play action out of that,
of
but then it
course,
immediately. Well, but here,
that box was like, so you have, one of the best coaches in the league. I believe that. And then also a quarterback who's seen it all. And those guys are all creeping down. Like that box is overfilled. And it's like, let's just bang our head against this wall and hand it off. Like it was insane. And it had no chance from the jump. And it was just like, and then he says after the game, it's a terrible play call by me. It's like, right. And you only had 11 minutes to think about it because both teams call timeouts. Like how this is where that landed is completely insane. It's like just have Puka run at a guy and do the Edelman thing with a jab step in one direction or the other, and you're gonna get it 3 yards.
well,
Guaranteed.
it's obviously what the Patriots did to great success with Edelman and before. Um, what occurred to me was in that moment was right. I'm surprised that they ultimately handed the ball off in that tight formation there, and he didn't check out of that, and my eternal affection for the naked bootleg from a QB it is now I forget what the number's up to. I think it's in the millions now. It is whatever that number is. That's how many. It's 100%. The naked bootleg by the quarterback in tight quarters like that always works. It has never failed. But of course, Matthew Stafford and McVay both know the one thing they cannot do is have Stafford run. They cannot risk the rest of the season on Stafford, which was interesting to me because Mac Jones, they can be more nihilistic with because they know Brock Purdy's back next week. So they do run the tush push with Mac Jones, even though he limped off the field a couple of minutes before. They're like, yeah, have him run it anyway. And it really did make me think about exactly what you're saying. When Nakua got the touchdown earlier in the game, it was on that weird looking little play. I don't love that play. I've seen it a million times with Roethlisberger. Is when they get close to the goal line, those tight window passes in real crowded quarters like that and everything. I don't like the odds of that play working out. There's too much can go wrong in the tight space with everybody packed in there, deflection and it's intercepted and all that. But they can't run the tush push. That's not available to them, which is a significant disadvantage because more teams. The thing that I've always said about the tush push is it sucks and it looks it looks lame and maybe they're cheating it a little bit and jumping a little bit and all of that. But the thing that to me is like if I were an Eagles guy, I would absolutely be like, then everybody else should be able to do it with equal success, and nobody does. That I mean, not the Bills with Josh Allen, not anybody can do it, but more teams are doing it with some success this year, and it's a big liability if you can't do it, and we just saw it with the Rams. Otherwise, you would have tush pushed. It's also funny, by the way, with Kyron Williams and all of that, that the irony of them running the ball on 4th and inches on their second go around after they got the mulligan from the Kyron Williams fumble at the goal line too, that they choose to run the ball there because they're just trying to burn the clock. The reason they didn't throw when they got in the red zone with 90 seconds, 60 seconds left in the game was they were trying to spin the clock because of the effect that we always talk about, which is like, well, now 45 seconds is way too much time for the other team. That's way, of course they're going to, it's wishful thinking that they're not going to get the ball to 35 and make one completion to Kendrick Bourne and win the game on a long field goal. And after the guy just made a 59 yarder, he's going to do that. So that reality is playing in McVay's head, which is why he runs them there. But anyway, no tush push is going to cost you a game somewhere when the other team does have it available to them. How say you?
Well, I will say this. I love plays like that are years in the making, and the Hurts handoff to Saquon out of tush push formation when he just walked into the end zone was like, you can't also guard against that. You're either all in on the tush push or not. But when you were talking about sacrificing Mac Jones, it put me in mind of Costner in the tent at the beginning of Dances with Wolves when they tell him they're going to have to saw his leg off. And they're like, hey, Mac, you're going to go, my leg really hurt. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're going to put you in the surgical tent. As soon as you get this first down, we're not really worried about moving forward, but it's my leg, coach. Yeah. Tush push. Come on, buddy. Come on. Like knowing it's like they do this in baseball all the time where a pitcher of value has a pitch count and they really coddle starters more and more, right? And then the long guy who has to eat innings, I think, oh God, what was the guy's name? Spaghetti. He came in the Red Sox won in Yankee Stadium, and he came in and they were like, you're finishing this game no matter what. And he got rocked. He was like the Yankees 13th pitcher. And I feel like he may have pitched for the Mets at one point. I can't remember this guy's name anyway, but it was like, this guy's career could be over. Like you're making him throw like there is no regard whatsoever for his rotator cuff. Those mop-up guys have no pitch count and no concern for their personal well-being. And it's like, that's your job.
That's why we have you.
You're eating innings at the expense of your future. And it's funny that Shanahan basically treated Mac Jones like that.
And then I mean, I don't know if you were more consumed with baseball,
But
understandable,
I
but
thought he was done. I mean,
then he
when he,
left the field when after just before they kicked the go ahead field goal, and he's literally like dry heaving repeatedly on his. I mean, he's on the field on his way to the sideline, and he keeps like having to stop to dry heave as he's limping off the field. Mac Jones and his giant tits. All of a sudden now the Iron Man of the other thing that when you're talking about how the coach looks at the guy, there can't be many moments in sports that are more flush with a mix of emotions and how you comport yourself than the manager going out, what's his name, Schilt for the Padres, going out to get Yu Darvish after he loads up the bases. He gets no outs in the second inning or third inning or whatever it was in the decisive game on Thursday, and he loads the bases up, and it's like, you get the ball, you're the guy who has pitched in a number of postseason deciding games. We're riding the season with you. And when he gets out to the hump, he just kind of looks at him like as he's walking towards you, and he just goes like, what are you gonna do? Like,
you
cost us
suck.
the season.
You suck.
Season's over. Thanks a lot, you. But you
Well,
can't be a jerk to him. You can't be like, you asshole. Do you feel bad? Look at all these other guys out there. You blew it for all of us, kind of
it,
vibe.
it that it's so wild that in the ultimate playoffs before the ball strike review comes in next year, that a fucking home plate umpire missed a 3-2 pitch by that much, as the farewell to human error, like just, and you don't know how the inning is going to go, but Keller does drill the next two guys, and it would have been bases loaded, nobody out. And it changes the whole inning that he misses that call by that much. And you're sitting there as the Padres like, oh, next year we can correct this massive error. And by the way, on the fucking plays at second base with the oven mitt, they get out an electron microscope. It is so far out of hand how now it's like, yeah, you beat the throw by a lot, but he kept the tag on you. Now we're going deep into the fucking molecular DNA.
I hate to keep the
and
tag
it's
on
like,
you.
we're going to see if the oven mitt came a 16th of an inch off the bag for a nanosecond, and then we're going to freeze it. And it's like, and then everyone goes, this is not the spirit of the rule of the game. It's like, and then Manfred just goes, I don't give a shit. Like, no, it's like, no, we have to have a limitation on this. I mean, the Jose Ramirez review. Yeah, the ball beat him and he's out. That's baseball. The part where you're sliding across the base at 22 miles an hour and part of you comes off the base, like, it's so nuts. But you can overturn that when the molecule is revealed on the electron microscope. That you can do. Guy misses a ball strike call by 8 inches. It's like, hey man, our hands are tied. Sorry,
That's the problem. That's the problem. It's the inconsistency of what's getting called. Right. We talked about it a million times about.
Yeah, it's pass interference. It's pass interference.
Roughing the quarterback, can't review it. Can't review that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that 50-yard penalty, not reviewable. Great. So I just think it's so insane. But next year is going to be nuts because, as anybody who goes to umpire scorecards knows, the humans are terrible. Like, they, in fact, what was interesting about the reviews and what, Angel Hernandez personally mandated that we have to do something is they're like, they still get most of the call. They miss all the close calls. They miss them all. Like, it's shocking how often when they go to the earphones, when they go, yeah, you're like, oh, they missed it. They missed it, so it's like, there's only 2 or 3 a game that are close, and they almost always miss those. They're not even 50-50 on the bang bang plays. So next year, when you get into the ball strike thing, and I don't know, do you only lose your challenges if you're wrong? Like, do you keep your challenges all game? Like, you're going to have 40 corrections if you have unlimited because there, and obviously someone, probably the Astros, will figure out, they'll have a guy, they'll have the University of Michigan guy will be, don't challenge, do challenge. The manager will be wearing an IFB in his ear. But anyway, so they miss so many that you're like, and then do you go, the starting pitcher is going to be like, well, I want to use it now. That's strike 3. And they'll be like, hold on, we're going to save it like the NBA does. Luka wants to review every call 2 minutes into the game. Like, how is that going to work? Like, because they're going to be missed ball strike calls from Jump Street.
It's gotta be like, what, you get 1 or 2. I mean, they're not gonna just give you.
Well, it's two, but I don't know if you lose them, or or you get another one. But the fact is, there will never be enough available to account for how terrible home plate umpires are.
All right, listen. Good. I could either launch into another 45 minutes with you, or we could wrap it up here. Before you go, 2 things. First of all, I think you both comported yourself like gentlemen today. I think frankly, I feel like the stakes were fairly low. You guys were not. This didn't feel bitter entering this 3 game.
I never have that with Hench, and Hench also came into like.
Well, why'd you have it with me when the Rags beat the Penguins?
Because Hench, last time we recorded, had little faith in the Red Sox, and after the game 1 loss, I was like resigned to the Yankees loss because the manager, or whoever is the manager, they're just a total buffoon, and this team that's full of this talent should be playing.
Spaghetti really is in on this conspiracy theory of
if you're keeping an eye on the Yankees for the years that Boone's been around, this stuff.
I'll take your word. Yeah. I'll take your word.
No, but like to Spaghetti's point, we had like 0 good swings against Max Fried. So as a Red Sox fan, I was like, oh, thank goodness, Luke Weaver. Now the game starts, so if you're Aaron Boone, and the other thing is, like, it's not like Fried was laboring this kind of arbitrary pitch count thing where it's like, who cares? He's dealing, I mean, Crochet went all the way up to 117 and was throwing 100 at the end of the game. I think we've lost our minds with the coddling. I like,
completely
it's the playoffs. This is why you have the big contract. You're gonna
Kyle Shanahan would have left him in there for 170 pitches. And he would have made him tush push, even it made no sense to do it. He would have had him do it.
Oh, I mean, when you see those Nolan Ryan 16 strikeouts, 9 walk complete games, it's like 241 pitches. Like,
well, what if you're Max Fried and you're watching the Thursday night football game and you see Mac Jones heaving as he's walking out after a series? Like, Skip, I might have been able to go another dozen pitches or so, man, if we really needed it. Okay, give a digital fist bump to each other. Spaghetti, you reach down. There you go. There you go. Up, Hench. Go watch everybody. There you go. Everybody make sure you're watching Shifting Gears. Getting a lot of buzz out of ABC. I caught a little bit of it earlier this week. I could swear this is something that happens with people who know somebody writing on a show. I swear I knew a couple of Hench jokes. I was like, that's definitely a Hench joke right there.
But hey man, I mean, to the staff is incredible, and obviously I've written the most Tim Allen jokes of anybody on the staff. But man, people have picked up that voice pretty quick, So, like, in fact, this week, everyone was looking at the screen and said, "That's got to be a Hench joke," and it was a Mike Carrion joke, and I felt like the mentor, Grasshopper, is ready for his black belt, because it's like, oh, my work here is done. If you guys are writing cranky libertarian jokes, I'm no longer needed.
Oh man, I'll tell you, I've said it before, I'll say it again. He got a shout out earlier. Tony Barbieri, who didn't kick either one of us out in the fantasy league this year, so we appreciate him at least for that. Kevin Hench and Eric Immerman, the 3 fastest joke writers I've ever seen. And it is a remarkable gift to be able to do. I know people are like, well, speed isn't the quality of the joke. Well, the quality is also there. They're professional writers after all. But I am forever intimidated by the guys who can access 5 viable jokes in 60
Well, listen,
seconds
I'm
when
I'm
it
I'm
takes me
glad you
25 minutes to come up with half an ass one
I,
joke.
I'm glad you put me in the same company as Tony Barbieri, because we feel the same way about him. And we'll close with this. Though people stopped listening 80 minutes ago on the tomato potato thing, but we'll
Very interesting.
by recording this, we will have it for posterity. And I want to get this on the record. So, as Spaghetti knows, our fantasy league is completely cutthroat. Someone gets kicked out every year. It's not my favorite thing, but it's kind of defined our league low these last 20 years or so. And so
Everybody's scared of Simmons. That's the
so
big takeaway.
Brad
Can you
got,
kick him out? He's
so Tony
powerful.
Barbieri kicked Brad out. And then, and Brad has just been on this jihad about Tony. He hates Tony. And it's like, all right, I wasn't happy when Shek kicked me out, but I'm not gonna be like, I hate Shek, but like, so Brad is furious. And then in Brad's pain of getting kicked out again, and it's not really fair, it's like that's 5 times now for Brad. It's a little low-hanging fruit, but so but in his tirade against Tony, he keeps going like he's not funny. I'm like, well, okay, whatever you feel about getting voted out of the league, I don't think you can say the guy that brought us Jake Bird, the guy that said on TV, that's not how you kill a mockingbird, you use a brick. That guy's funny. I'm sorry. That guy's so fast and so funny. This is the one, it's like, I got a lot of criticisms of Margot Robbie. One of them's not pretty. What are you saying?
Well, now that brings me to the last thing I was going to say to you. Say, when you're looking up at the screen, it made me think that's your homework, Hench. Before the next episode, your homework is to go look up at a screen that is showing one battle after another. And I literally just stumbled on the name because that is one of the worst names for a great movie in history. It's up there. It's not as bad in my book as Road to Perdition, which those pretentious asses made a great movie and they had to spoil it by using a word perdition that 98% of the population doesn't know what it means. And so how could you go see a movie if you're like, I don't even know what perdition means? So that movie.
All right, and then I'll
must not
give
be
you
for
an
me.
assignment if you guys haven't already done this and talked about it. Cocaine Quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
just
no,
saw
I
that.
haven't watched
I saw
it.
promotion for that. Yeah.
Oh,
Good?
you gotta watch Cocaine Quarterback. And what's so crazy about it, as we talk about Cam Schlittler mysteriously adding 10 miles an hour to his fastball as a grown-up. Oh, here's 10 miles an hour. Interesting. Spin rate.
Freshman year,
So,
Northeastern, 88 miles an hour. Last night, average fastball, 98 miles per hour. That's
yeah,
true.
Wow.
I think we've all experienced that. You grow into your man strength, whatever. But the thing that's crazy about Cocaine Quarterback is he's in prison and he's just talking openly about steroids and being he was like a walk-on on the USC teams, the greatest college football team of all
I
time.
didn't. So this is a true story?
This is a documentary.
Oh, I
Cocaine
didn't know.
Quarterback.
Okay, I didn't know
And
about
he's
it.
just talking openly about providing HGH and decaderbalin and stanozolol. Like he's anytime a guy on the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Lendell White team like was dinged, they'd go to this guy and he's just on camera talking about being the provider for the team. So it's like, I don't know, like it hasn't gotten any real like traction, I think, where it's like,
I mean,
I
look
mean,
at me. I didn't really
no,
know.
but
I've
like
heard
where it's
of
like,
it.
I think they've already stripped that team of everything. I don't know, is there anything left to take away from that team? But it's like, sounds like they were also definitely roided out of their minds.
I love the idea that, but the move that is the best is when they take away someone's national championship 15 years later. Like, well, it has ceased to exist. Can you memory wipe as well? Because until you can do that, I'm gonna pretend like they still actually won.
We were gonna do that to the Cool Cats for losing the trophy, but clearer heads prevailed, and then you got the trophy.
Now it's a beautiful trophy. It's
Beautiful.
better than it's ever been. Hench, one battle after another. It's a gem, I think. Do you like Paul Thomas Anderson movies generally?
I mean, I do. I find them always very interesting. I don't think they're quite as provocative as the potato tomato dichotomy, but
You say potato, I say
I,
potato.
I'll just weigh in. I think the reviews ruined the movie for me. And I also don't think it's a top three PTA movie. So sorry. Good movie. Really,
Really?
really good
oh,
movie. Fantastic acting. The pacing for a long movie, fantastic. It never felt like it never dragged whatsoever. Everyone in the movie was phenomenal. I mean, Sean Penn is steals the show, I think. But it was based on a book. It's a little it gets a little convoluted. There's no iconic scene to me. The
Oh, I
scoring,
just
the
disagree.
scoring was
Okay, well,
good.
let's let Hench do it.
next
Let's
time,
keep
next
our
time.
powder dry so we can have a three-way conversation on this. I think it's a gem, and it's one of those movies that I saw it a week ago now. It's been a full week. I think about it like I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about like, boy, that's wild that they did that, and boy, that was really funny that the character made that. So many elements to it. I don't want to half-ass my thoughts on it.
I
The
I'm will I still think it's going to be hard for Eddington to get knocked off for me. I think Eddington was the best movie of the year. Ari Aster's phenomenal, and then the one I'm interested to see because the people who I respect in my circle that know movies, the movie by the Benny Safdie, the A24 movie with The Rock about Mark Kerr, the MMA guy. I heard it's supposed to be really really good.
I've
So
heard it's supposed to be good too. I just don't care about the subject matter
yeah,
of MMA and the background. Yeah, I've heard it's really good. I mean, the thing to me about without talking about the plot, they're just at this basic level. I've watched many, many movies in my many moons on the planet Earth. I've never seen characters like those in any movie. I mean, Perfidia physically
hmm
to start with is like it was like what the hell? Like
hmm
I mean, I've never seen an actor, a lead, in the first act at least, is in the lead role, and it's like what the hell? I've never seen a performance like that. And Sean Penn is great, and
yeah,
what's his name, Sensei, is
yeah,
spectacular,
yeah.
and I mean DiCaprio is a gem, and it's funny. I was telling my friends in some of my friends in Chicago who are asking about the movie. And I mean, I think people are going to get it sideways about the political message
Yeah.
as it is. I think people are going to warp it to what they want it to be, and I don't think that's necessarily the intended message of it. But uh, yeah, man, I just thought it was the the it was funny.
It was.
When people call it a comedy, though, I think that kind of almost diminishes it for some people if you're trying like it's absurdist, but there's something unnatural about it in the most natural environments that you've kind of ever seen. These like sort of very, I know Arizona and New Mexico and that desert kind of space is a very specific kind of
Mhm.
nature, but um
Yeah, they
it
filmed
was
there and they
it
filmed up in near Sacramento.
but kind of largely unspectacular
Mhm.
environs for these bizarro performances, and it's sort of DiCaprio is in a way an extension. I was talking with Mark Sessler as well about it from Heed the Call,
Yeah, and he loved it
and
too. But
he loved it as
yeah.
well. Yeah, I was getting in his and Dan Hanzus's ears and saying like, you guys got to go see this picture already. Definitely Sessler, who loves
Mhm.
that sort of thing. It is sort of um, a little bit Rick Dalton
Yeah, yeah.
extended or without the shine of show business boosting him up, but it's kind of it it's in the same spirit of that character a little bit, this imperfect, flawed, burnt out, past his prime hero guy. I mean, see, now I'm talking about
It's one of my more it's definitely a role, a Leo role that I love and I think he's super funny in it and it is a complex character because he's saying it is like he is like a stoner, but he's also like not like a tryhard's not the right word, but he's trying to like fit in. like a square peg, a round hole, square peg sort of thing, because he's not really his scene. So I think the character was complex. I like all the individual. It's just a weird thing. I liked everything individually, but together it was a good movie. I'm not sure if it's super rewatchable. And it is based on a book, so I feel like he was trying to do a lot to like make it similar to the book Viceland, but it's not exactly a direct copy of because I think he's been trying to make this movie for like 20 years. And it just he hasn't found the correct way. And I think Tiana Taylor, I believe is her name, was the main the that you're talking about. She was like phenomenal. Everyone was so like why Sean Penn is not acting as much as he used to. Like he should be doing more stuff. He was crazy
I
good,
mean,
I
his
thought.
walk, I
It
mean, the
was
way, the
so
little
good.
stuff like his
Yeah.
walk and the
Yeah.
stuff he keeps doing with his
Yeah.
mouth in
Yeah.
tight shots constantly and his weird hairdo and
Yeah.
all of that.
The
I
Johnny
mean,
Greenwood from Radiohead, I think, scored it. So that's and another. I mean, everything about it was really good. I just the reviews, like I'm like, oh, this is going to be an iconic movie. It's going to change my life, and I just didn't get that magic. I don't know why.
it's big and small and it's yeah, it's sort of like unlike anything I've ever seen. Although you could, what I said to my Chicago pals about it was, I was like, if you know and like Paul Thomas Anderson, you might kind of see it if you blur your eyes, so you could kind of call it um, uh, a sort of boogie nights for rebellion against the U.S. government kind of thing. It's like these weird characters and
Hmm.
moments that are bigger than the overall story. It's just sort of a snapshot of the 16 years of the ongoing struggle. So it's not the same beginning, middle, and end that you're probably accustomed to seeing, and neither
Sure.
really is Boogie Nights if you think
Hmm.
about it in those terms. It's just sort of more 70s style movie, which is you're just picking up something at this point and seeing the backstory, and then the people living their lives without necessarily. I mean, there obviously is a payoff, but they endure. You feel their prior lives, and you feel that they continue to exist after the movie in a way that a lot of movies don't do that because you're watching them for for the climax of it,
Hmm.
and this has a different vibe. It has more eternal. I think the statement is about, to some degree, about that it's never going to end, no matter how much you change the pieces, the
Hmm.
individuals around it's going to go on, much like a Yankees Red Sox rivalry, to bring it all the way back to where we began. All right, Eddie Spaghetti, good stuff. Thank you for making the time. I know you're up in New York City, so kind of
Yep.
you to do that. Great thanks to Kevin Hench as ever, and most of all, great thanks to you, sports fans. Keep on checking in, downloading and subscribing, and all the rest of it on YouTube and or wherever you find your audio podcast. Same goes for Shifting Gears on ABC. Kevin Hench, showrunner. Support it. That's how you support this show, is you support that show. Same goes for Football America, available on Mondays and Fridays, a new episode to get you right with game picks and all the rest of it. We didn't do that here on Shek Show. We did do all the game picks, Jordan Rodriguez and all the we rate uniforms and all the rest of it. Good times over there. We appreciate you supporting us there. And with all that being said, next episode, a deeper review with Kevin Hench chiming in too, on one battle after another. Until then, I hope your favorite teams win all their upcoming battles. Until next time, thanks so much, sports fans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.